Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Life Talk for this evening. We're glad to have you join us. I see we already have viewers that are jumping in, and we'll hopefully have quite a few more. But we're streaming this on the 10th of February. I know some of you will be watching this after the fact, maybe way after the fact, which is fine too. But if you're watching this as we're streaming this live on this Wednesday night, we want your comments. We want you to jump in and be a part of it. We're starting something brand new tonight. And it's called How to Love Like God in a Very Unlovable World. And we're taking this from 1 Corinthians 13. And we'll talk more about how you can get some additional resources to go through this in a moment. But right now, let's get everybody in the team on the screen, and we'll see who's with us tonight. Okay, very good. Hi, Lisa. Now, Lisa's going to be... She's going to be the Wizard of Oz behind the curtains tonight, keeping everything running, and so we appreciate that. You're muted, so we can't hear you, but we'll take a wave.
Sorry, the dogs were barking, but I'll go away.
Okay, well, thank you for what you're doing, and Adam, Joe, and Kayla, I'll give you a chance to say hello to everybody. Okay.
Good evening.
Hey everyone, we're ready to get into a new series.
I'm looking forward to that. How are you, Adam?
Tired.
Good.
But I'm excited. Honestly, I am thrilled about this series, How to Love Like God in an Unlovable World. So yes, I think
I feel like this is a much needed series.
So what'd you say, Kayla?
I was saying it's a much needed series right now. I definitely need to brush up on this one.
Yeah, I think we all. And it is Valentine's week, so. For those of you out there that are unprepared, you have now been warned, okay? So it's coming right up. As you see scrolling down at the bottom of your screen right now, say hi to us and let us know you're watching. So if you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on Twitter, you're watching on YouTube, you can comment. And we want to see your comments coming in. If you're not say I don't want to really comment, or just type in, hey, I'm watching. We'll be able to see you and we'll be able to greet you as well. So we're going to do that. Now, tonight's study is one that as we've already talked about, we're looking for, called How to Love Like God in an Unlovable World. And they're in 1 Corinthians 13, a passage that we know very well, familiar with, but it's a passage that in the text, Paul, as he's writing about love, gives 16 descriptors of what love is like. Now, we're going to do this in 3 weeks, so it's obvious we're not going to cover all of these descriptions. But I do want to mention to you that if you go to our website in the news section, there is you'll see this logo that you see. Oops, I always point the wrong way. It's over there. So you see it like that. You click on that and you'll see two things. One is you can click to the Love Like series, which is a Bible study. This was originally put together as a Bible study that a Bible study leader could do. There's introductory videos, study guides, and all of that. But it covers all 16 of those descriptors. So what we don't cover online on screen, you can get to. And also there's a link to this week's study guide, which is a PDF, which looks something like that, except mine is scribbled on. Yours will be fresh. But if you just go to calvarywb.com and click on the link for Love Like God in this Unlovable World, you can get right there and get that. Thank you, Adam, for getting that study guide up and running for us, and creating PDFs and all that sort of thing. So we are ready to go. Tonight we're going to be talking about love rejoicing in the truth. And does someone have their Bible and just at least want to get, this is now verse 6, so you can see we're just kind of picking that. But someone was going to get us into verse 6.
I've got verse 6, 1 Corinthians 13:6. It's a short but important verse. It starts out, it says, love does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Does not rejoice in wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth.
Okay, very good. So title for tonight, just rejoicing in the truth. And we're actually, that's the second part of this verse. We're actually going to cover the verse in its entirety, which is 2 of 16 descriptors. But let's just start. Someone want to get our icebreaker going, get our discussion going, whoever's got that ready to go?
I'll get it going. Let's do this.
Go for it, Kayla.
Okay, so it seems that this is a 2-part one. So you can pick and choose how you want to which one you want to answer, I'm guessing here. If I'm wrong on that and everyone answer both, by all means. First one, have you ever been the victim of a dishonest sales practice? How did it make you feel? And then second one, do you ever find yourself rooting against a disliked sports team rather than root for your team? I feel like coming out of the Super Bowl, maybe we might have some more people answering the second part here.
Do you ever wish that both teams would lose? Is that
There you go.
Is that possible? I felt that. For me, I remember rooting against a disliked sports team really made me think about past volleyball seasons. Like back in high school, you'd go to a volleyball tournament, and let's say you got knocked out of the tournament, or even if we were advancing to the next round, you know, you're always rooting for that team that just you didn't get along with, and you're just really hoping they lose, which is horrible. Coming from a Christian school, like we played other Christian schools, we should be like building everyone up. But I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest. Like I definitely rooted against some teams I did not like.
Competition is competition. And I you know, I've been a lifelong Mountaineers fan. You grow up with that, and being a West Virginian, you know, we've all seen the bumper sticker. I'm for WVU and whoever's playing Pitt. You know, that's just, you know,
Yep.
that's how that works.
Very true.
Mine. Go ahead, Joe.
Maybe let me take a shot at the first one. I was asking my wife about this. Have we ever experienced a dishonest salesperson? The answer was not exactly, but we did have an experience that I think kind of resulted in the same emotion. We were, several years ago, we were trying to buy a car for my wife. She was going to a new job that was going to require her to drive a lot. So we went to the place that we normally purchased our cars, and our regular salesman was going to be on vacation for a couple weeks. So, you know, we said, well, is there someone else that could help us? And we found another guy named Tyler, and he did a great job, and we ended up buying the car from him, which was fine, except when the regular salesman came back from vacation, he saw us at the dealership, and he just lit into us. I mean, he didn't just say, you know, I'm sorry I wasn't here. He just really, really told us that we should have waited for him for 2 weeks till he got back and he could have sold us the car. And I mean, the result was the next time I had to buy a car, which wasn't all that long ago, about a year ago, I really hesitated to go back to him. I had lost trust in his ability to give us a fair deal. And it was hard. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of difficult.
Yep.
Did you go back?
I did.
You're a better man than me.
Well, I don't know. There's a variety of reasons we won't get into, but you know, I just really struggle with it. I just didn't feel the same towards him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go with compete. I'm gonna go with the second one. And first and foremost, let me say, for those of you all who are tuning in with us right now, we know that we are competing with everything else that is taking up your time right now. So thank you very much for joining in with us in this conversation. And Kayla, you're not alone. I air high five you because I played in a church basketball league locally here. I'm not going to mention any names, but there was a particular church that we constantly went head to head every single year. We made it all the way every single year. These two teams, our church and another church, every single year to the championship. Sometimes we won, sometimes we won. But didn't matter if they were playing against anybody else. It was like W and Pitt. Like, we are rooting for the other team, but not that team. It was bad. It was another church here in the valley. It's just like, can't stand you guys.
Competition brings out the worst in us sometimes.
It does. I'm not gonna lie.
It is competition. So there's winners and losers. Well, let's go back to our passage for tonight, and in verse 6, it talks about that love is going to rejoice in the truth. It's not just being the truth, but it's going to be excited about the truth. It's going to embrace the truth. It's going to just kind of be all in the truth. And I found this quote. This is actually in your study guide, which for reflection. I'm sorry, it's not in your study guide. I have multiple study guides. I have the study guide for the Bible study and also for our live talk tonight. But this is from William Barclay. Christian love has no wish to veil the truth. It is brave enough to face the truth. It has nothing to conceal and is so glad when truth prevails. This honesty, and maybe you've known somebody maybe they started a relationship, romantic relationship, but they were not dealing in truth. There was something hidden. There was something unsaid, something, something covered up. But love is definitely devoted to the truth and rejoices in the truth, whatever it is. So also, let me give you a quick definition of this. Is the word that comes from the Greek word, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it. It's a difficult one. It's about 18 letters long, or something like that. But the word true or truth, it means reality, the unveiled reality lying at the basis of or agreeing with an appearance, the manifested, the veritable essence of the matter. And when I read that definition, I always think of all the courtroom dramas I've watched on TV. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It's the truth. So we operate in the truth. And we talked just a few weeks ago in our study of Ephesians that one of the signs of us in maturity and so forth is we speak the truth in love. That's the put off and the put on. We put off lying, but we speak the truth in love. So anyway, that's just some definitions, and that maybe will get us going in the right direction. So question number one for our discussion here about this 1 Corinthians 13:6. Why is it so hard to be truly honest with others? And if you want to try to answer that one online, we'd love to see your comments on that as well.
That's a very, very good question.
I think, for me, the first thing that came to my mind is we're afraid to be truly honest with someone because they're not going to accept what we have to say or who we truly are, just along those lines. At least that's what came to my mind at first. But just, you're afraid to truly show who you really are or, what you really think, worry that you might offend someone now is, probably one of the big things.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something that kind of goes parallel with that. And I think that sometimes people perceive advantages to lying. Now they're not true advantages, but I think that people lie because they want to get their way or they try to improve their image in front of others to get some kind of reward or even to win an argument. Yeah. But it's interesting to me that you never have to teach a child to lie. Mm-hmm. It seems like they default to that. Whether it's to get out of trouble or get what they want, children quickly learn how to lie. And I think we just continue doing that lots of times as young adults and even older adults. So I just echo what Kayla says. I think people incorrectly assume that there's going to be an advantage to them telling a lie.
Yeah. We had a couple of comments come in. Let me just, Pam says, if you're truly honest, you risk rejection. And that fear of rejection sometimes that's just, put another way, judgment, fearing the judgment of other people. That's how I thank you for that, Angie. And pray people would not agree with us, place judgment on us. Cindy's kind of in the same vein. It seems like we're all kind of hitting that same area. So, that fear drives us to either withhold the truth or to shade the truth, or at its very worst, it'd be an outright falsehood, which is all deficient in the truth. And but if we really love somebody and operating in love, it requires the truth. Adam, you want to chime in on this question?
I think the great theologian Cyndi Lauper had a song about that.
Great theologian.
Your true callers. Your true callers. I only say that because you guys and other people have already commented on this. The judgment, rejection, and so forth. But I think we're also afraid. If I'm going to be completely honest, that means I'm vulnerable. And just like what Pam Drought was saying, there's that fear of rejection, but it's more like, look at this person's flaw. Do you see what this person's flaw is? When I'm completely vulnerable and honest with you, it's just like, oh. So yeah, that's where rejection, judgment, all those things come in. That's honestly where fear comes in.
I think we forget though, like if we are truly honest with someone, especially about our struggles, something going on in our life, we forget that we're not the only ones going through those struggles. If we choose to be honest and share that with others, we tend to get more help instead of just bottling it all up and trying to act like you got it all together. That's when you end up just losing it, blowing it up completely.
And don't you love people who are transparent? You know, people when they're struggling or they're dealing with a topic, they're willing to share that they don't have all the answers. I agree with what Kayla said. You just immediately want to help them in any way possible.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joe and Kayla, for answering the next question before we ask it. But that's fine.
I didn't do that. I don't mean to.
No, it's good.
No, but I
ahead.
was saying, following up with what Pam was saying, she was saying, I'm afraid of people exploiting that flaw. That's a whole other thing. Not only pointing out your own flaw, but going out and telling everybody else, like, hey, you know, this is this person. So for, yeah, man, Patsy, that's good stuff. I don't know if anybody else can see that.
Yeah. Afraid of someone to discover our past, things we feel guilty about, things we don't want exposed. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Good discussion today. But what is gained when we're honest with others? Kayla was talking about the help and the interaction, and Joe's. I don't restate kind of what you were saying there, Joe, about.
But I think it kind of boils down to this one where, I love people who are transparent because I want to help anybody who's dealing with issues too. I think, but one of the things that I think that the advantages are to being honest is we build trust. And, if you had to describe the one characteristic in a relationship that's most important, I mean, lots that come to mind, but ultimately it comes down to trust. The more we trust somebody, the more we care about them, and the more we want to help them. So I think that for me, one of the chief advantages of being honest is it builds trust.
Very good. Someone else.
And there's.
Go ahead, Adam.
Well, I was just going to comment on one, and there's two other T's that go with the word trust as well, too, because sometimes I think we throw out that word, trust this, trust that, trust. And how you develop that trust is by time, right? You spend time with that individual, right? But at the same time, we could also say, how do you trust God's own heart is by getting to know him, by spending time with him. And then the other aspect, Joe, you already said this. The other T for forming that trust is transparency. This is who I am. And honestly, I honestly, that's why they call it. If you're transparent, it's all there. It's called the naked truth. I mean, you're bare, like it's all there.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yep.
You also gain this sense of peace, just like. Mm-hmm. If you're going to lie and kind of hold stuff in, you're constantly just going to be worried. We've already talked about this, worried that someone's going to discover something bad about us, worried about this judgment. When you're completely honest, you just have this sense of just peace, and that's why everyone's constantly looking for their person, their soulmate, because they believe that once they find that one person that's, just meant for them, that they can be completely open and honest and everything's going to be perfect and it's going to be great. Now, obviously, we know that that's not true, but you do gain, whoever you choose to love, you gain this sense of peace by being completely open and honest.
Yeah. It also takes the pressure off of us. That was an old quote from somewhere, but it said, if you tell the truth, you do not have to have a good memory. You can whatever the truth is, it's there. It takes the pressure off. But there's something, as we can move to greater levels of transparency, there's something about that. It makes an emotional, human, relational connection when you open up and express your heart. When you're all closed, it's just another barrier to the true relationship. And so, truth and love being connected is very, very important, and we understand that.
Both have the best interest of each other.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly.
Can it even be real love if you're not completely, honest about things? I don't know how you could even show the love to someone if you can't even love yourself and all your flaws and be open and honest about that.
Yeah, I think so. Although I think transparency does grow, but yeah, it's the basis. It's the foundational thing of a relationship, a love relationship. Although all four of us on screen are married, and you've experienced this where you think you know someone until you marry them, and you're sharing finances and sharing space and house and responsibilities, and you learn a whole new level which should be a blessing in moving the direction. But it could either be an irritant or that which drives you apart or that which bonds you together. Hopefully the latter.
I think one of the things, though, you also gain when you're honest with somebody else is that, I mean, I could be completely wrong with this, but I think you kind of gain the right to be heard. The more honest I am with an individual, it's just like, okay, let me kind of hear this person out, not only this time, but next time and so forth. And then at the same time, when you are being honest and truthful and so forth, I think there's many benefits. This person can be more dependable. This person can be more responsible because they are giving me truth. They are being honest and upfront with me.
Yeah. And don't you think if you're transparent, that invites the other person to be transparent back?
Absolutely.
It does that. Okay. Lisa, if you would bring up our verse for tonight, just want to refresh that. I think you had it there a moment ago. And but we're looking at 1 Corinthians 13:6. And our topic tonight is how to love like God in a very unlovable world. And we're just looking tonight at two of those qualities from 1 Corinthians 13:6. Love does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. And we've been camping on the second part first. And hopefully this will at least whet your appetite to further study into this. And we'll look at several others over the next 2 weeks as well. So let's go to a verse that is found in John 14:6 that most of us know. According to his own words, Jesus is the truth, and as such, he does not pretend we are something we are not to make us acceptable to him, but he displayed his love for us by dying for us. In other words, it says in 14:6, Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth," there it is, "and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me." And what a wide open invitation that is, and what clarity it gives to the way to God through Christ. But he doesn't pretend that, I'm just going to pretend like you're not that bad. Or we're going to sweep that under the rug. He dealt with us in love, but the love confronted the fact that we were sinners, and he had to pay the ultimate sacrifice of his life to gain that. So anyway, how does his love for us now, as we just go to the next question, translate into love for others?
One thing it does is it gives us a model as to how to love. He loved us and still loves us, even though there's, that we do all kinds of things that are incorrect and wrong, and we continue to do it. He loves us despite our faults. I think we've talked about this before, but there's an adage that goes, we like because we love in spite of. Love is a choice, and God chose to love us. Even as sinners, God chose to love us and to die for us. What an incredible model for how we should love others.
Yeah. Take the shot at that question too for us, will you?
I'm sorry. Can you do it again? I feel so bad. I've got my little girl's right here in my ear.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Okay. If you need to step out, that's fine.
No. Please just ask me again. I'm ready now.
Just take a shot at the question right there. How does his love for us translate into love for others?
So basically what I had put was the same that Joe had, was just, it's a great model for how we can show love to others. What's great is knowing that no matter what my flaw is, no matter what I have, whatever I think is, horrible baggage, Jesus loves me in spite of it. So in turn, I have a friend who, if she or he is struggling with something that they feel like it's just this horrible baggage, it's my duty to love them in spite of it, just like Jesus loved us.
Very good. Very good. Thank you. Adam, go for it.
I was just thinking about this today, and for those of you all who are analytical like me, or sometimes you're like, okay, again, we hear this word love, right? And love others like God likes me and loves me and so forth. And I started thinking about this. It's more of like, okay, I want to treat others of how God has treated me. Well, how has God treated us? Okay, well, there's kindness, there's mercy, there's grace, there's forgiveness. So I need to do the same for others. At the same time, God wants here's the thing that stepped on my toes. God wants the very best for me. So at the same time, I want the best for others, even if that means there's got to be some sacrifice on my own behalf, on my own part. And then if you notice in the passage that we're in tonight, it's not just a word of some emotion or fuzzy-duzzy feeling, so to speak. It's action, it's doing. It's how he treats, as of just saying, oh, hey, I love you. And you see that all throughout 1 Corinthians chapter 13 of what this display of love looks like in your everyday life.
Very good. Let's get a couple comments on here. Thank you, Pam. He doesn't pretend to be something we're not, perfect, which we're not, but we are made in the image of God. I will look at a person and love them not because they're perfect, because, no matter what that person is. Whoops, you took that off a little too soon. Sorry. The person is made to be in the image of God. Thank you. Sorry about that. I jumped the gun on you a little bit. Patsy says this: you have to forgive in order to love like God loves us. We're going to come back to that concept in just a moment. Good for that. Sandy says, we not forgive us. We're to love. Very good. I love what Kayla said. I do too, by the way. I try to do things for others that will show his love through me. Very good. All great comments. One thing I've just encouraged you, this as Adam just alluded, this passage here in 1 Corinthians 13, you really need to look at it two ways. I would encourage you just to read through these verses and in your mind apply them to God's relationship with us. Does he not do all these things? Did he suffer long? Is he kind? He didn't envy. He didn't parade himself. He's not puffed up. All these are scriptures. He is the perfect example of this to us. And then reread the same passage, seeking to look at it in the vein of, this is how I need to express love to other people. So it's a definition of love, no matter who is the recipients and who is the who's the recipient, who's the sender of the love. And that could be God to us and God through us to others. So I would encourage you to be, as you meditate on this passage of scripture, make sure you look at it from both angles. Anyone else want to add anything to this part of the discussion?
Keep it rolling.
All right. Someone got Galatians 6 there for us, and maybe take us down that step.
Got that.
We'll be looking at Galatians chapter 6, verses 1 through 5, and you see the text also on the screen. If you got a Bible, I encourage you to have it at the ready as well. Go ahead, Adam.
You mean to read it?
Who was going to read it?
I've got it.
Go for it.
Brothers, if anyone is caught in any transgression, you who are spiritual should restore him in a spirit of gentleness. Keep watch on yourself, lest you too be tempted. Bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. For if anyone thinks that he is something, when he is nothing, he deceives himself. But let each one of us test his own work, and then his reason to boast will be in himself alone and not in his neighbor. For each will have to bear his own load.
Someone jump in with the next question there.
But the question
All right,
I have,
so
go ahead, Adam.
No, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, Joe.
All right. So the question I have next is, how can we counter throwing out secret celebrations in our minds and hearts when bad things happen to those who have done us wrong?
I struggle with this. I'm just, again, in all transparency, this one is tough because everything inside you, when someone does something wrong to you, you so badly want to be happy whenever it says that karma, it's like they want this karma to come back to them, which we obviously know, like, that's not how it works. But yeah, it takes everything in me to remember that is not the way Jesus wants us to respond. We are all made in his image. We're all children of God. So again, I've done plenty of bad things in my life. So I'm sure someone was probably thinking the same thing and rejoicing whenever something happened to me. But again, it's just like a reminder that we are all made in his image. We're all children. We didn't want bad on anyone, no matter what they've done.
Yeah. The way the question is worded, And it's, because most of us would not outwardly rejoice in someone's misfortune. We're like, yeah, I'm glad they got it. We would, but it says this secret throwing secret celebrations in her mind. And, it is a question of the heart, that sort of thing. Stephanie says, sorry. She had an earlier quote, so she's putting that. That's why the sorry is there. Try to remember to say a prayer for that person. Always good advice. It's hard to be angry and mad at someone you're praying for.
Mm.
It has a way of sort of pulling that out of us. Okay, Joe, do you want to give your vocabulary lesson now?
Well, as I was doing some reading, I came across a German word that I thought was kind of describe what I wanted to say. The word is Schadenfreude, which is SCHEDANFRUDE.
Say that.
That word, Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude. Okay, go.
And it says that it refers to delighting in the misfortune of others. So I was reading a little bit more, and they've done some experiments in this area. We all know what an MRI is. Well, there's the one called a functional MRI that refers to blood flow in the brain. And what they do is they kind of figure out what areas of the brain responds to what emotions. The area of the brain that responds to pain, they had found out some things in relation to people that take pleasure in other people's misfortune. So people felt the least pain, and this that sounds good, but it's not, the least pain when bad things happened to people that had done them wrong. Okay? They also experienced the most pain, which sounds bad, but when the person they envied had something good happen to them. I mean, what kind of mind would it take that you felt pain because something happened good to someone you didn't care for? I mean, that's a convoluted logic, is it not? And it's the exact opposite of what God would have us to do. But we've seen it. I've seen it in other people, and probably have seen it in my own life, where I secretly celebrated when something bad happened to someone I did not like. So I'm going to try to remember that word and try to avoid that emotion, because that was something I was just not familiar with.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah. Pam said, had to repeat Proverbs 24:17 over and over at times. Rejoice not when your enemy falls, and let not your heart be glad when he stumbles. Great. Thank you for sharing that scripture with us, Pam. That's
Good choice.
Yeah. And, you think about it, Jesus talks about, do unto others, the golden rule. You'd have others do to you. No one wants someone rejoicing when we stumble and fall. I don't want that for me, but, so let's go back to our verse one more time. We got something from Angie here. Bad things happen to everyone. I would not want someone to celebrate my misery, because that could be them. Thank you. That's kind of, we're thinking the same thoughts. We wouldn't want that for us. Let's go back to our verse here in 1 Corinthians 13:6. And this is the first part we're looking at. Love does not rejoice in iniquity, the bad, and that's not only the payback as well, but also rejoice that they're going down the wrong path or iniquity's taking place, whatever, but rejoices in the truth. And those two things are intended to be set in contrast to each other. Here's the don't do this. Love doesn't do this, but love does do this. So they're related. Okay, someone else jump in here on this question. We'll give everybody an equal chance.
Let me follow up with one aspect I meant to say, and I just forgot it.
Sure.
Along with these scientific studies, they raised a question, and maybe we raised it to the panel tonight. So why do we feel good when other people have bad things happen to them? And I'll let you all respond to this. The study that I read said it's because of jealousy. That we're jealous of the position they're in. It's jealous of what is happening in their lives. And maybe that's part of the reason. I'm not saying it's all of the reason, but maybe that's part of the reason we feel good when other people suffer. That's a terrible thing to say. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I honestly think differently. I don't think jealousy. My very first thought is they got theirs. There's finally justice. Hey, Lord, I've been praying for years. Rain down fire on this person type deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, where's the justice? And then all of a sudden, like, there's this thing that happened to this person who's done you wrong in the past, you feel like some sense of like, yes, give it, stick it to the man, give it to him type deal. You know what I'm saying? Like there's justice in this. And like you, for some reason, it is that odd feeling. And it's just like, yeah, that, and I think over a period of time though, if you're especially if you're a mature follower of Christ and you look back, you start to feel guilty, but like, man, I was celebrating literally about somebody else's misery. And it brings us back to when you look at Galatians 6 verses 2-3, it's a reminder of what Christ has done for us, and we're no different. Because when I think about this, the key word is how can we counter throwing secret celebrations? And I don't know, but this still boggles my mind that God of the universe could have had anything, loved anything, loved anyone, done anything, but yet he chose to express his love by having a relationship with us. And he didn't just say, okay, hey, I'm going to love you. Like he demonstrated of how and why I love you through his son, Jesus Christ. Like to me, that's still mind-boggling. And for us to even just rest on that and constantly be meditating on it, I think that is one aspect of how we can counter of not celebrating.
I want to, if it's okay, I want to read this one from Angie because this was what came to my mind. And it also ties into Lisa's comment down below. Angie says, if we're happy when someone else is miserable, how miserable are we ourselves? It deprives ourselves of happiness. We think that, if we're not happy in our own lives, no one should be. Everyone should just be miserable. If I can't be happy, no one should be. And like Lisa was saying, it's the older brother of the prodigal son story. It was mad because it wasn't fair. But all he did was just deprive himself of happiness. He had his brother home. He missed out on a celebration, and that's what happens to us is we see someone else doing well, even whether it's people we don't like or whether it's people we do like, we see them doing well, doing awesome things. And we just, like Lisa says, we miss the party. We miss the party. Yeah. We miss the party. We miss getting to be happy and celebrating our friends' success. It's a bad cycle. It's hard not to do it, but we do need to remember that ultimately you're only hurting yourself by throwing these celebrations.
Yeah. Have you ever noticed we want fairness for ourselves? We want fairness for everybody else, but we want grace first. We want grace for ourselves, fairness for everybody else.
Yes.
They need justice. They need to be set. But me, I want grace. I want forgiveness.
Jess, could I read a verse related to that?
Absolutely.
I was reminded of, we all know this passage in Micah chapter 6, verses 6-8. When it talks about how to approach God for worship, and they ask some rhetorical questions. With what shall I come before the Lord and bow down before the exalted God? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000 rivers of oil? Shall I offer? This is just the most amazing, terrible. Well, shall I offer my firstborn, the fruit of my body for the excuse me, I gotta catch myself here. The fruit of my body for the sin of my soul. But here's what Jess was talking about. And this is what's really important. What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God.
Mm-hmm.
To act justly, love mercy. Sometimes I get angry and it's hard for me to love mercy, But when someone does something to me, I want my pound of flesh. I want punishment. But when I do the same thing, I want mercy. Yeah. The roles are just totally reversed. Exactly what you guys were talking about. Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Joe. Good. Well stated. Let's go to our response, and we have a response and then a bottom line to kind of summarize it. But choose to love in spite of the reality of failure, rather than expecting life and relationships to be other than they are. It's relationships are messy. People are messy. People are flawed. People are imperfect. People are going to hurt you. but we need to choose to love. And so love does not rejoice in that iniquity, doesn't rejoice in, whatever's, the payback, but love operates in the truth. And part of that truth is, God's relationship for us. He's operated in truth. He didn't pretend, he didn't cover up, and we need to operate in that same vein. Anyone want to add to that or highlight anything from there?
Yeah, I like, and I circled this on mine too. I like how you put choose. I like the key word there, choose to love, because let's be honest, every person who is watching this right now, I can guarantee you in some form or fashion, you have quote, quote, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, one morning. You have a choice. Do I continue to love the people that are in my household or my coworkers? I'm going to choose to be a certain way, or am I going to choose to be this nasty person, or else like you're going to choose to love your spouse. You're going to choose to love your family or whatever else. Not because, man, I really don't feel like it, because I feel like going back to bed and pulling the covers over my head because I had just no sleep last night. But you choose to love because it is a choice. It is a will, is an action of what God has already displayed. I love that word choose.
Very good. Very good. All right. Let's go to our bottom line. Let's take the summary, and any of you that are watching want to put any last comments in. We're getting close to the end here. We'd love to hear anything you want to share. But the bottom line, God loved us knowing the truth about us. There's nothing hidden from his eyes. We all are, he knows everything. Can't fool him. Our failures and imperfections. So we should love others and ask him to work in us. It's sort of, I think you talked about earlier, Joe, love is in spite of. And we're all flawed, and there is this connection, absolute connection. If we're going to love other people, that we have to be just appreciative, aware, operating in the fact that God loves us, and that's what makes all this connect together. Anyone else make last words here on the bottom line?
Real quick, I would just challenge folks this, and man, I would love for us to hear your feedback, but this is what I challenge. Number one, that person who is difficult in your life, right? Number one, be praying over that person. And then number two, express a way to show them God's love. It could be taking out their trash can, your neighbor's trash can, out to the curb. It could be, writing just a thank you card or whatever, just somehow, some way to express God's love to the person that you find extremely difficult to love. I encourage you and challenge you to do that this week.
Good, Adam. Thank you so much for that. Anything else from the lower half of the panel here?
I'm good. I guess the one thing that I'm reminded of, I heard a pastor say this. He had been in a church for about 25 years, and he said, after 25 years, he says, my imperfections, my warts. And then he turned around and he said, but you know what? I know some of yours as well. And so we all have warts. We all have imperfections. And just to repeat what Adam said, we have to choose to love.
Yeah.
On the topic of love, I want to take this time. I want to throw a little bit of a promotion out there for something exciting we've got.
Listen, I know you're signing out in your mind. You got to listen to what Kayla's going to say. This is good stuff.
So important. This is good.
We're going to put you in the prime spot here so you can talk.
There you go.
Oh, no. Super awesome opportunity coming up, which is for our married couples at the church, and not even for people at the church. This is for our community. For married, engaged couples, we've got an awesome opportunity coming up this weekend. With it being Valentine's Day, we have your best night in. It is going to be this awesome digital date night experience. You are not going to want to miss this. I'll be sure to put up some more information about this in the morning on our social media pages, so that way you get the full, understanding of what's going on. But ultimately, like I said, it's this digital date night experience that you're going to get to partake in from the comfort of your own home. And I tell you, sometimes, especially if you have kids, and you can't get a babysitter, I understand. Sometimes you just have to have that date night in. But what's super neat about this, is if this weekend you and your spouse or fiance, if you partake in doing this experience and you post a picture of you guys doing it together and you tag us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever social platform you have, if you tag us in it, you're going to automatically get a promo code for a Redbox movie or something. You're automatically going to get something if you post a picture. So everyone's walking away with something.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt a second. Let me interrupt. And if to tag us, just use Calvary WV. Okay.
Yes.
Hashtag Calvary WV and Facebook, Twitter, all those places. We will see it, and we can do the next part, which you're going to tell us about right now.
Yes. So, but wait, there's more. Best part is you also get your name put into a drawing where you're going to get a chance to win an ultimate date night given to you by us here at the church. You're going to get your choice of dinner, of an activity, and a gift. So again, your choice. You're going to get to choose. You're going to work with me or Adam or someone on the staff of what you want to do for your date night. And it's completely covered by us. And boy, do I wish I could win this because that's amazing.
Are not eligible. Yeah. Well,
But
very
no,
good.
so like I said, you're going to have more information about this tomorrow. I'll have this all written out for you. You'll be able to easily get on this weekend. We'll give you until Monday night to post a picture and tag us. And everyone who does, like I said, you automatically get something. You'll get a promo code for some sort of movie so you guys can have a quick date night in as well. But you're also getting your name put into this awesome drawing for a very fun date night.
And what could be better than that? Everybody wins. Someone wins the grand prize, but everybody wins. So
Exactly.
There you go.
I want you to do it. Thank you for that, Kayla, and we're looking forward to that. And thank you all for joining us tonight for our Life Talk, and we'll be back next Wednesday with the second part of this study, How to Love Like God in this very unloving, unlovable world that we're in. And go to the website. You can get more information about that. That's where you'll be able to get the study guide for next week and so forth. So thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Lisa, who's been back behind the screens. We appreciate it. Hope you all have a great night, and let's make sure that we are, with God's help, loving like he loves us.
Good night.